up? What up? What up? Welcome to another edition of If They Only Knew. Alright, man, we got a crazy one today. Alright, for the world, even though everybody knows probably who the hell you are, introduce yourself.
Man, the world don't know who I am yet. So after they watch this show, and then we're going to boost everything up, and then they'll learn some more.
There you go, there you go.
My name is Keldrin C. Joshua. That's the government name. Out in the streets is K-Pook. That's K-P-O-O-K. And I got various other names, but I'm from Los Angeles, California, born and raised, and I'm here in the A, having a good time.
That's what's up, that's what's up.
Well, actually having an interview, you know what I mean?
That's having a good time too.
That's how you started, right?
Yeah.
Fresh off the plane and right here and talking to you.
Shit, I greatly appreciate you coming on here, man. For the people that don't know, Lisette is the one that introduced you to me. It's my sister. She briefly told me your story, and I was like, whoa. So let's jump into it. Man, all right. Let's start tell me a little bit about where you're from and a little bit of your childhood.
I grew up, I was born and raised, I was born in Compton, basically, so Compton, California. And then at the age of 3 years old, we moved to the city called Downey, California. Predominantly all white. You gotta imagine, like in 1973, we were the first black family to move in there. So I seen a lot of things just growing up. So it's almost like when everything's going on right now with the Black Lives Matter, I need to write a book that says "Growing Up Black in Downey." So I can tell you because I did have a little bit of that white privilege by living in a white neighborhood.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But besides that, I went to school in Inglewood. I travel all around in Los Angeles. You go from Inglewood, go to Los Angeles itself. I lived there. Grew up, with a swimming pool table. I was okay. I was living.
Doing good.
I was living lovely, thanks to my grandparents and my mother. So I was living lovely. So within that time, I just grew up and DJ'd, got into hip hop real big.
Okay.
And from there, just everything. Fashion, got into fashion, started doing fashion in 1993, and once I started in 93 doing fashion, everything just extended from there. And along with that, instead of just playing sports and paying attention to music, I kind of dilly-dally within the drug industry, a little bit,
Dilly-dally?
Yeah, dilly-dally, it always starts off with the small stuff, and you end up making it bigger and bigger, but never was I considered like a drug dealer that made my money off. My lifestyle was based off my drug dealing.
Okay.
But to get things correctly, yes, when we get to the story, what I need to tell you, yes, I did something which was horrible, but my whole intellect is not about selling drugs. I've had great jobs. I've worked for Fortune 500 companies. Yeah. Matter of fact, when I got in trouble, I was working at the corporate office of Bank of America. So
you was leading a total opposite lifestyle.
I'm a Gemini, so that other one wants to go ahead and do something silly every once in a while. You know what I mean?
So you was living right while dabbling in the streets.
Yes. Yeah.
But your dabble led into
something else. So when you do your networking, you know people, and you get networked into different situations. And because I trust so many people and have so many friends. Sometimes you really don't. You get blinded by what the friends are that you're going to be doing. And basically,
facts.
That's kind of what happened in my situation. So basically, I went to jail got a sentence for. First, it started at 20-something years, and then it went down to 188 months. And for those of you who know, I've done Fed time, 188 months, 15 years. 15 years, 8 months.
Yeah.
On a first offense.
So you okay? Never been locked up.
Never been locked up.
Any county.
I've been to jail. I've been to Twin Towers on some traffic shit.
Okay,
you know what I mean? Like you get a ticket, you don't want to pay the ticket. What do? You go ahead and spend a couple days in jail, get it over with, get it off your record, keep on pushing.
Can you speak on what led you to jail? To this sentence?
Oh, to this sentence was. Again, I met some friends. I knew a friend of a friend. I always goes down by friend of a friend, and he asked me one time. He says, "Hey man, do you know anybody that sells methamphetamine?" Now, pay attention, people. This is 2000 and 6. So blacks don't fuck with methamphetamine. Okay?
Yeah,
that's that. So especially at that time of year. But it's not that I even fuck with methamphetamine also, but I knew somebody that knew somebody that knew someone. Like if you wanted a midget, I'll get you a midget. You know what I mean?
We'll talk later, yo. We'll talk later.
Whatever you need, I had connections to.
Okay.
That's this.
That's
So one of my friends wanted some. What if I had a connection to sell some? He wanted to pick up some methamphetamine. And I told him, I said, look, this is not nothing that I do. I don't mess with that. That's not my type of drug. That's whatever. That stuff kills you. But I do know somebody. So I that's where I messed up by saying I do know somebody.
Yeah.
You always got to think about the cash and shit like that. And I was.
So did you take him to the transaction? Were you involved in the transaction?
Well, I'm involved in the transaction, and what was so funny about the whole thing is that they kind of made me the ringleader, and I wasn't the ringleader, and all I was the middleman that put A and B together. So basically, I had a friend who says, "Hey, man, I got this friend, and he's looking for some methamphetamine. Can you help me out?" I tried to help him out the first time, didn't go through, no problem. But then, me being eager, I kind of just wanted to still complete the mission. You send me on a mission.
Were you gonna get anything on this?
Of course. So I end up connecting with some friends of mine. I asked them, and they said, yeah, they had some. So then I told the guy I told my friend, who was going to tell his friend, which he didn't know that his friend was a confident informant. So when I tell my friend we can hook this up, the first time we do it, we hook up, we do a little small transaction. I'm just the middleman. I tell this guy to meet this guy at this certain spot. They do what they have to do the exchange, and then I get my residuals.
And that was it. That's all you did.
That was the first one. All I do is I'm the conductor, right?
Okay.
I'm the traffic control. So then after a while, they ask for some more. So
they asked you to ask him for some more?
They asked Exhibition A to contact his connection.
See, you should have gave the
to go
number.
to him.
Well, you was trying to cap it.
Well, because here it is. I have my friends who don't know A, so I'm the connection.
Yeah.
I'm the connection.
Damn, man.
So that's where it happens. That's where you get.
I've been there several times. Yeah.
For those of you who watch this and do get in trouble and know what's going on, that's how you get a conspiracy. Conspiracy is everybody had to basically play a part in to make this happen. I knew this guy who knew this guy who knew this guy to make everything work, and that's how you get your conspiracy charge.
Damn.
And they're very hard to get off, and they're very easy to put together. That's why the feds and everyone else can come after you very quickly. Is these conspiracy theories?
Damn.
Conspiracy theories. So within that, we go around. We try to get it I try to get it the second time. So I get it the second time. I talk to my boys. Boom, no problem. So here's the second transaction. So every transaction is getting a little lower. Now, growing up in life, especially in California, there's always a lot of weed. You're always selling a lot of stuff. And so I remember my best friend that taught me how to sell weed. He basically taught me these rules. They buy small and then they start buying big. There's something going on, especially if they're doing it too quick. That was his rules of the game, and everybody should know that game if they're in this type of situation. So, in a sense, I didn't really listen to myself because I'm seeing greenback dollars. So.
Well, you said it started going down.
No. It started.
So they started getting high. They're asking for
higher.
more and more.
It started with small, then it went a little bigger, and it started getting a little higher.
Shit. Yeah.
But here's the whole twist of the thing. The guy I told you about that taught me everything. I was dealing with people of his people, so I was like, well, they know the same rules that I know because because that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so I'm figuring everything's cool. I'm figuring everything's cool. And so then we get to a point to where this is go down, and then all this stuff happens within 3 months. So let's get towards the last month. The guy is asking for 10 pounds of methamphetamine.
How much did he start off buying?
He started off like a quarter,
Oh,
and then ended up just
shit.
getting bigger and bigger.
God.
But so the problem was, so the guy asked for 10 pounds. I'm like, 10 pounds? Like, what the fuck? And I'm like doing the math. And I'm like, oh,
I'm about to be.
this is what you dream about. I'm gonna have to do nothing but just be the conductor, leak in A and B, and that's it. And then I'm gonna have plethora of money to do whatever I need to do, and that's it. So that's why I say, I wasn't really drug dealing, but I was. You know what I mean? I'm that middleman. But for some strange reason, the confident informant was informing the feds that I was the one to talk to. Like, I distribute all the methamphetamine that comes out of Hollywood came from me. So he's putting that in their head. So now I'm visualizing, seeing, you know how they have the pictures lined up, like who's who?
You at the
And
top
all
of
of
the
a sudden, I
pyramid.
went from here to here,
Oh, man.
and they just basically thought I was the main man. I was nowhere near the main man. But we all know with the feds that if they would catch the main men and stuff, they don't give the main men no type of time compared to the little minions like we do. So within that time, the guy asked for 10 pounds. I call up my boys and say, look, can we do 10 pounds? I'm ready for him to say, throw away your phone. Don't worry about this shit. Move out, whatever. This is what I'm waiting to hear. I want to make sure. We know the same rules.
Yeah.
And he said, hold on, I'll call you right back.
Wow.
I guess he talked to his person. He calls me back and says, yeah, we can do it. So I'm thinking, okay, if they're going to clear it, then fuck it, we're going to do it. We're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
So we end up trying to make it happen, and it takes forever. He's calling me. My man that I know is calling me every other day. Hey, can we go? Can we go? Now, what was happening was, because it was the feds, they can only do transactions in the day. At that time, we're only allowed to do transactions at a certain time.
Yeah.
Because at a certain time, they have to cut it off no matter what time it was over. And they can only, when they go and ask for the money that I'm asking for, they can only have the money for like 24 hours and they got to return it back.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they got to sign that shit out.
So the problem there was that my friends, whoever their source was, would get the drugs from, would only make 10. So he wasn't trying to give them all 10 at one time and make it happen. So it was kind of like he had shit in, so I was always missing. This missing window. And after a while, I basically
God.
Got, you know,
God.
After a while, I basically got kind of tired of being involved.
Yeah.
So I told my boys, I called my boys up and said, listen, this is the situation. I'm gonna hook you guys up with this guy, and basically, this is how much I'm getting.
Yeah.
And when I told them how much I was getting, they're fucking, with the price was what I was getting for, their mouth dropped. So they're like, and I said, look, just break me off whatever, and I'll take whatever I gotta get, but you guys deal with this.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, cool. So I didn't hear from the dude for a while. My boys called me up and say, hey, listen, get all 10, you already put all this hard work in, you did everything, we're going to give it back to you. You go ahead and make the deal. All right, cool, no problem. So we set it up. Everything is pretty much set up, the day, where we're going to meet at and everything. So that day, I'll never forget, I went to work, I couldn't wait to get off work, and, I'm sorry, but this is something like this part. So where I lived in this apartment building in East Hollywood.
Yeah.
So when I would come down to go get in my car and stuff, it was an apartment building area, so they have the trash cans outside, right? So one day I'm coming outside, I'm ready to go to work, and there's this man standing there and he's digging through the trash, right? But he's dressed like a bum and he's going through the trash. So I said, hey man, we have good stuff in here. Don't leave trash and shit on the floor. You can have all the bottles of shit you want. I said, motherfuckers got money out here, so you can take whatever you want. Don't leave trash and shit on the floor, or I'll make sure the next time I see you, you won't come back here.
Yeah.
He kind of looks at me, whatever, and I proceed on. Go back to work. So when I go to work,
right there, you have nothing to hide. Welcome in this bum to go through your trash.
Just go through the trash. And so as my last day, basically, when I'm going to work, get off work, I'm happy. It was a payday, so I drive to a market because now I'm gonna get get some stuff for my house, buying chicken. This is like November-ish, because, this is like November-ish. I remember it had Christmas trees and stuff, you kind of combined the Thanksgiving and Christmas stuff together at the markets. So I'm picking up stuff, picking up rotisserie chicken, I'm picking up soda. I'm like, I'm about to get paid right now, so I don't give a fuck. I just got paid. I'm about to buy this whole grocery house worth of shit. So I'm going through everything, and I get in line, and this little Armenian kid comes up to me, and he has a pack of Hot Wheel race cars. He grabs them, and he just puts them on the conveyor belt, just puts them on there, right? And I look at him, and the cashier says, "Hey, do you know this little boy?" And I said, "No." And she says, "Well, he just put this on here." And I said, "Well, how much are they?" It's like 4 cars for like $5, $6. I said, "Man, if I can't afford this, I shouldn't even be in line right now." Right? I'm just being kind. I'm on some more other shit, right? And she looks at it, and she goes, "Okay." The cashier looks at me and says, "You know what? God's gonna do something real special for you."
Oh shit.
So I'm like, all right. I grab the Hot Wheels, it's a little kid. His mom comes up to me, she's trying to pay me. I'm like, nah. I said, no, it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
You can have that. She's like, thank you. I got my groceries, put some money in the bank, and I leave. So when I come to my house is maybe less than a mile from the market. So I drive to my house, and I have outside parking and I have back parking. And depending on what time of the day it is, you can get all day outside parking. So that day, everything was free. Plus, I wanted the guys that were bringing the goods to park in the back, so they're not out in front. So when I park, there's a car. I park right next to this car. Now, with my peripheral vision to the side of me, I saw the seat. Someone was sitting in there, and you pull the little thing. I saw someone in the seat lay back.
Oh shit.
So I see it, but then I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Cause sometimes I come home after a long day of work, sit in my car, pull my seat back, and smoke something, chill. So didn't really alarm me. So I get in, grab the groceries, go upstairs to my apartment. I call my boys, and my boys, I tell them where to park, and to call me when they get there. So I'm waiting. I get a phone call about 30 minutes later. They show up. And once they showed up, we started discussing everything. They left the methamphetamines in the car. So I'm going to explain it. There's going to be 3 things that I did wrong in this whole incident, which would have gave me lesser time than what I got. So they left the methamphetamines in the car. They come upstairs into my house. So we're sitting there. I'm feeding them. We're talking. We're getting ready to discuss, and we're waiting for them to meet. I get a phone call on my phone, and it's the confident informant. He calls me directly, and he says, "Hey, yeah, what's up?" He goes, I'm at your house." I'm like, "You don't know where I live. I don't eat and shit at the same place. You're not supposed to ever know where I live." But now, we're dealing with, you gotta realize we're dealing with a lot of money. So even with my friends being there, even as friends, and we're dealing with this situation, I gotta think about what's happening right now. And in my head, it's like three TVs came on in my head. Like, do I tell my boys that I've never told this guy where I live, and what situation, or what are they gonna do to me? The next one was, maybe my boy told him where I live, but he forgot to call me and tell me, because that was his boy.
Possibility.
And then I said, or maybe it's the fucking feds. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those 3. But I got to think of the perfect scenario that's going to match with me. So I just tell them, he's here. So I tell one of the dudes, I say, you go downstairs to talk with him, because usually the time you got to do your transaction, you're the one that's in the transaction with him. That was my first mistake. I should have went down and talked to him. Because what happens is I go outside and go to the car to go pick up the product. So now the product's in my hand. Right?
Damn.
So now the product's in my hand. Now, we're walking out, and another thing I forgot to tell you is that I didn't have all 10. I only had 5 of the 10. Because my boys were only allowed to have, they could only get 5 of them.
Half and half. Okay.
Half and half. So I had told him exactly how to pack the bag, exactly how much money I wanted in there, and how to do it. So I'm a good organizer.
Yeah.
So when I go there, we'll just do an exchange. I give him that, I grab the bag, we just go and disappear, right? So in this situation, we only had 5. So when I tell him, I said, look, you're gonna have to, if you did the bag exactly the way I told you to do it, basically you're gonna have to just cut half of it out. When you take that out, the other half will be exactly what it should be. He says, hold on, I gotta call the money man. He used to always say I gotta call my money man because he was like brokering for someone else. Yeah. So he calls the money man, tells the money man.
So he was a middleman too.
Yeah, well, he's trying to get to he's trying to get time off, right? So he basically just says, okay, he calls the money man. The money man says it's all good. The money man says I'll be there and I'll be right there. So as we walk out, we're walking. I got the bag for the family. My 2 boys are behind me watching my back, and me and him are walking down the sidewalk. And as we're walking down the sidewalk, his phone rings. When his phone rings, he brings his phone and he's like, yeah, yeah, sure. Puts the phone down, and this one we have to flip. Puts the phone down. He goes, hey, I need to make sure there's 5 in there. Can you show me the 5? So I'm holding like a shopping bag, and kind of with the ropes. All I gotta do is let one of the ropes go, and it opens up. Yeah. And he goes, yeah. He goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they're all there. No problem. As soon as he hung up his phone, all of a sudden I start seeing AR-15s. I'm seeing motherfuckers jump out of trees. They coming up out of bushes. Like they coming from everywhere. They got every apartment that's on the street. They hiding everywhere. But I'm not looking. They're in their camouflage, and I'm not looking or seeing. And one of the guys, remember, there's 3 of us. It's me, my boy who has the stuff, and the driver. The driver's in my apartment. So basically, when we walked out the apartment and made the left, they already had swooped the team to go up and get him. So he was already gone, but because the guy is focusing, the company informants is focusing on me to make me look at him this way, I'm not looking backwards. We're not hearing anything. So bad boys moving silence. You know what I mean? So we went in, did their thing, and then next thing I know, when everyone comes out, I got machine guns in my fucking forehead, all of us with our hands up. And then they tell us to go down, and they tell me to drop, and for some strange reason, I don't know how the fuck I was holding the bag, but the bag would not leave my motherfucking hand, right? And I'm like trying to move, and they're like, stop moving, and I'm like, what the I'm tripping. But finally I just dropped that bag, and I was like, boom, and I got on the ground. Now, me being a dumbass, because I have friends in the industry, I had a friend that worked for Punk, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that this motherfucker is pulling a pump on me right now, pulling a little pump thing, and I'm laying there like, when the fuck Ashley Christmas gonna come out and do some shit, right? When they gonna say,
all right, guys, it's all over now.
when this is gonna happen? But next thing I know, I hear this car come down the street. It's driving, stops right in front of us. 2 ATF guys or whatever, fucking all black, with the face all covered, come out. And they grab old boy, take him, throw him in the truck, and the truck takes off.
Oh, shit.
So then I look at my boy, and I'm like, my boy already knew. Yeah, he says, no, nigga, this ain't no, this is real. So remember the guy I was telling you that was in my trash cans?
Yeah.
That was the arresting officer. And he was standing over me. He says, I had to bring all these people. You're a big dude, and I didn't want you to run. And then he called me by every alias name that I had. Mr. K-Poop, P-U-D, Mr. Downey King. He called me every fucking name. He knew every alias. And I'm looking at him like, oh, shit. And when he picked me up, went to my house, and here's how dirty these motherfuckers. They walked me all the way back to my apartment in the front yard and they hold the shit next to my face, me and my boy, like they taking their pictures and shit, so now all the neighbors see all this shit. And then,
Damn.
so then after that, we go into, when we're getting ready to get arrested, remember that car I told you I was next to? That's the car that they put me in. That same car was the same car they put me in to take me to get arrested. So there's your part one
Damn.
of how I got in the feds.
Oh shit.
Getting out is a whole nother story.
Hold on. Yeah, I heard that was part one. We're gonna bring it back for part two. Stay tuned.